Good morning, New Hope. That was awesome. Let's keep that going, all right? If you're sitting in here this morning and you're like, only 2 songs before we have to listen to that guy, right? Those are great songs. Don't worry, we have more songs, okay? So I just wanted to give you guys hope. And I want to welcome you guys to week 2 of our holiday season series that we've been calling Christmas Connection. And in this series, we're really answering the question, how can we make a connection, every one of us, that will be a blessing to us, and it will bless others as well. Does that sound like a good deal? If we can do something that's going to bless us and bless others, it seems like that'd be a cool thing to be a part of this month, right? And so last week, we started off by talking about making a list. Right, making a list. And we made our list. We didn't come up with it from scratch last week, but I told you the plan. Our plan as a church for this month, what we want to accomplish. And I didn't ask anyone to sign in blood. In fact, last week I didn't ask you to do anything other than consider how God may want you to be a part of what we're planning, how God may want you to participate. So we're going to, this week, take this list that we've made, and we're going to start checking it twice. Huh? Come on, that's fun. That's fun. If you missed last week and you want more detail, because I gave way more detail last week, you can go to the website newhope.rocks/messages and click on Christmas Connection and watch that, or just go to newhope.rocks. Click on the little 3 bars, click on messages, and go to Christmas Connection. There's tons more detail there. And before I jump in, I want you to know this too. Next week, as we continue in this series, I'm going to teach a message called Naughty or Nice. And I'm really excited about this message because I think for many of us, we sort of have it in our minds that, man, if I haven't done enough or lived at a certain level, that I kind of made God's naughty list, sort of like Santa, right? And I want to help straighten or maybe fix our thinking on that. So I think next week's just going to be great. Awesome opportunity to invite someone to hear about that as well. So I want to share our plan again right now. And as of today, you can participate, right? We are open for business on these things that we announced last week. And there's just 3 things. 3 gifts that we are being invited to give in response to the gift God gave us in Jesus. 3, if you will, Christmas presents that we get to give to Jesus, which is actually a really good thing because I actually saw this news article this week. Check this out, this headline. Jesus demands separate presents for birthday and Christmas this year. And if you have a birthday in December, you know about this, right? Where it's sort of, people are like, hey, I just got you one big gift for both, right? Even though it may not even really be a big gift. It's like you get one gift for both, and I actually have 2 immediate family members who have December birthdays. Bethany, my wife, her birthday was yesterday, and Christopher, my 13-year-old, Liam, my 4-year-old, soon-to-be 5-year-old son, his birthday is this coming week. So we know all about this. But what if your birthday and Christmas were the same day? And I don't just mean on the same day, like they were the same thing. This is what Jesus has been dealing with, right? So in this article, this satirical article, obviously it's a joke, right? Jesus is quoted as saying this. Now, I just want to be really, really clear so nobody misunderstands. This is a joke. Jesus didn't actually say this, okay? And actually the context here is that someone gave him a giant iTunes gift card for both his Christmas and birthday present all at the same time. But this language that's in this funny article that's kind of mildly offensive, I think will help us think a little bit more clearly. So let me just read this fake Jesus quote. So Jesus said, "It's not a money thing. If you had given me 2 gift cards worth half as much as this big one, I'd be happier than I am right now." So I'm not saying you guys are cheap. I'm saying you're lazy. You don't want to wrap 2 presents. You don't want to write 2 cards. I do not feel loved right now, gang. I'll just say it straight out. I feel pretty underappreciated. Honestly, I do. You'd swear I didn't get nailed to a cross for you people the way you act on my birthday. Ouch, right? Ouch. And so here are the 3 gifts that we're sort of proposing that we together give to Jesus. Now, some of you are like, whoa. You said he wanted a birthday and a Christmas present, but then you just said 3 gifts, right? So let me give clarity on that, because for many of us, maybe we've never, ever given Jesus a birthday gift, right? Ever. So we have, if he wants a separate Christmas present and birthday present, we might need to give him a makeup gift too, because we sort of failed at this for so long. I don't know, just, that's supposed to be fun. You guys can chuckle. So here we go. Thing number 1 is we're inviting you to participate in a Christmas offering. Last week, I had the avalanche buckets back here. They weren't really open today. This week, they're up here. And this is an above and beyond offering. We're encouraging and inviting everyone to participate in. If you want to just give your normal giving, you can do that in the tall red boxes at the back as usual. And whatever comes in, we're going to use 1/3 of it to bless the church. Right? We want to end this year as strong as we can, and we want to start next year as strong as we can. So we're going to take 1/3 of it and use it for that. We're going to take 1/3 of it and we're going to bless our community. We're actually going to fund benevolent needs. When people in our community, people in our church have issues and struggles, we're going to use 1/3 of it for that, which we have done, but has been a difficult thing to do, sometimes with budget limitations. And we're going to use 1/3 of it to bless our world, to really fund the work of God outside of our community and region and even around the world. So we're going to use whatever comes in this month in these buckets to do those things. Here's kind of a cool thing. In the last couple days, I spoke with an anonymous donor. And the anonymous donor said to me, you know what? I know for the last 2 or 3 years, you and Jeremy and Clay and Roy and Mark have been trying to complete a tech overhaul. We actually, a couple years ago, purchased one major piece of equipment, but we still have cameras and screens and all sorts of upgrades that we want to do. We have pieces of equipment in this room that are over 10 years, 15 years almost old that we really need to upgrade. And really, for the main reason, to create the best possible experience for people who come to this place to hear about Jesus. And so this individual really wanted to be able to help us push forward and even get close to completing the rest of the tech upgrade. And so this individual said, you know what? Whatever comes in the 1/3 that's to bless the church, if you want to use that to help with some of our tech needs, we will match it dollar for dollar up to $5,000. Isn't that cool? And I just wanted to mention that to you guys, not so that you could golf clap politely, but maybe for some of you, you've been praying about this last week or wrestling with, hey, how do I want to maybe be involved or a part of this? And maybe for some of you, knowing that your money sort of gets doubled or goes further, that may prompt you to want to do something or participate. Number 2 is we want to encourage people to commit to serving in 2019. The presents here on the sides, the little ones represent many of our ministry areas, and the larger ones represent the umbrella areas over those things. We're actually going to spend a chunk of time today talking about those in just a few minutes. You're actually going to hear directly from those lead team leaders, the leaders over our ministry areas. And here's the really cool thing. When we give the gift of serving to Jesus, we are actually giving the same gift he gave us. We're putting on flesh, we're showing up, and when we give the gift of us to him, it doesn't just make a difference for a day, it actually makes a difference all year long. And it's a great gift to think about giving. And number 3 is we want you to help us share Jesus with 1,000 people. Over the Christmas weekend at all of our gatherings, we want to share the message of Jesus with 1,000 guests. And here's the thing. Last year, we did a Facebook ad. We're still doing that this year. We didn't do a newspaper ad last year. We're doing that this year. We really didn't push inviting. We're really doing that this year. And we still had 800 people show up last year to hear the message of Jesus. So we started thinking, what if every one of us, all of us, not most of us or some of us, what if every one of us strategically would invite and bring at least one person or one family to hear the message of Jesus at one of our 4 identical Christmas gatherings. We have plenty of times. Take a look at the picture of the banner just out front here. So we have identical gatherings on Saturday, December 22nd at 5 in the evening. We have our regular Sunday morning times at 9 and 11. And then on Christmas Eve, we have a 3 p.m. And then we have our late candlelight telling of the Christmas story at 11. And we have free tickets for everyone. And here's the thing. Some people might think, well, tickets, that's a little bit asinine, right? No. I want you to know this is intentional. Every larger church I know of that has an influx of people at the holidays, this is the best practice. That they give out free tickets so they can manage the flow of people. So that, because if you come and you bring guests, do you want a seat for your guests to sit in? Right? That just makes sense, doesn't it? And so here's the thing. If you come and we have 400 people show up for one gathering, that doesn't work. Or if we have 100 show up for another, that really is kind of a bummer. So we want to manage this. So we're actually, because we usually do weekends separate, and historically we've done weekends all by themselves, so we'd be doing 2 Sundays anyway, and then we do a 3, 5, 7, and 11 on Monday. We're actually doing, depending on how you want to do the math, between 1 and 3 fewer gatherings, but we're being more strategic. We learned last year that offering the same thing on different days actually gives more people an opportunity to come. So we're being more strategic, and we're asking you guys to help, because we want there to be room for you. If you want to come to one or all of the gatherings, we want there to be room, and for every guest you bring. And we're simply asking that you join us and be strategic about this. Get your tickets today. Last week, when I was just telling you about this, when I wasn't even saying, hey, please do this, 100 plus tickets already went of the 800 we have. The late one we don't have tickets for, that's just kind of an animal of its own. And it's awesome. And so I want to encourage you guys, I think in order to really get to our goal, we need about 300 tickets to go today. So I want to encourage you guys, get tickets today for which gathering time or gathering times you're going to be at, and invite people to. So let me deal with maybe one little pushback. What if some of you are in here and you're like, Rob, if I'm being completely honest, what if I just don't want to? Right? Like, I get what you're saying, but what if I don't want to give any of my money? I don't have much of it anyway. You know what? I get that inviting people, that might be cool, but you know what? I don't want to bug my friends and have them think I'm that weird religious person, right? What if I don't want to? And just as a little response, I saw this image this week, and it sort of pricked my heart. Look at this. Whenever there is a conflict between what we want and what God wants, God must win every time. It's what makes him God. If we get to win sometimes, guess what? He's not God in our lives, right? And there's a problem there. So some of you are like, oh, okay, I get it, but really, Rob, why should I? Give me some more. Well, let me give you a little more. The mission of our church is to multiply spaces where people can come just as they are, baggage and all, have an encounter with Jesus, have their lives changed, and leave different. And we want to continue doing this until we see our ministry footprint, our impact expand to a reach of 10,000 plus people. Mary Coles and Bud Stanton love that, right? And just to let you know, when you think of what's going on here and in Worcester and Ashland and the other things that have begun because of us and exist because of us, it's sort of the high watermark moments of the year. Our current sort of footprint is about 2,000, right? So we're about 20% of the way there, but we got a long way to go. I actually talk about this at New to New Hope, so if you've never heard me talk about this, maybe you need to come to New to New Hope next month. Maybe, right? And here's the thing. If we can't all work together to help do this, because could you see how getting 1,000 people here this Christmas to hear the message of Jesus could help us achieve what we say we're all about, right? And so if we can't do this at Christmas, right, for Jesus' birthday, then we're just kidding ourselves that we're ever going to get this done. And hear me, church, we are going to get this done, right? We need Jesus big time. We need to work together big time, but we are going to see this happen. But maybe even more importantly about why we should do these three things. Let me give you our two series verses. In John 1, we have this cosmic telling of the Christmas story. And John 1:14 is my favorite verse there. It says, the Word, Jesus, became flesh and blood and moved into the neighborhood. The idea here is that at Christmas, we celebrate the greatest gift ever given. That's what this big gift on the back wall is all about, right? Jesus is the biggest, best, greatest gift ever. But it's about more than that. Look at our second series verse from Luke 6:38. The text says this, give and you will receive. Your gift will return to you in full, pressed down, shaken together to make room for more, running over and poured into your lap. The amount you give will determine the amount you get back. Now, if you want to know more about the context of that, go listen to last week's message because we talked about it in greater depth. But here's the thing. We all know this, right? Because our parents taught us this, our moms taught us this, that giving is better than receiving, right? So that we should give. But here's the thing. Some gifts are so great, we just have to live in response to them. What if someone gave you a house? Would that change your life? It would, wouldn't it? What if you received the gift of an organ from someone, whether it was a live donation or maybe someone died, and the only reason you're living today is because of that organ donation? Does that not change your life? What if God gave himself, his life, for you, for me, for all of us? If that happens, we can't just say thank you and continue to live life as usual. It's got to change things. He gave and was the greatest gift. And now you and I, we are the gift, right? And because of this gift we've received, we have got to become a great gift as the hands and the feet of Jesus. So a couple last thoughts. James 4, verses 13 through 17. Listen to what the brother of Jesus has to tell us. I love this passage. Look here, you who say today or tomorrow we are going to a certain town and we'll stay there a year. We will do business there and make a profit. How do you even know what your life will be like tomorrow? Your life is like the morning fog. It's here a little while and then it's gone. What you ought to say is, if it is the Lord's will, if this is what he wants, we will live and do this or that. Otherwise, you are boasting about your own pretentious plans. And all such boasting is evil. Now listen to this. This last verse is the hard part. Remember, it is sin to know what you ought to do and not to do it. Now, one thought. I could tell you 10 thoughts, but let me give you one thought here. We should all work to live out the will of God. Right? That should be our desire. You and I, we should work to live out in our own lives what God wants, what his will is. I love that passage It says that our lives are like the morning fog. We're here and we're gone just like that. That's what our lives are like. And yet we all sort of strut around boasting and bragging about all the things we're going to accomplish. And then we wonder why we're not as blessed as we would like or prefer. Maybe, could it be in those moments that we are following, as the text says, our own pretentious plans instead of following Him and following His plan for our lives? What if instead of us doing any less, we gave all of our plans to God? What if you and I consulted with God on everything we did, and even, heaven forbid, we let Him guide, direct, and even change what we are doing and or are going to do? What if He got to do that? God, if this is your will, that is His will. That we actually give Him a say-so in our life. That we allow Him to have input. That we let Him take the lead. One more passage. Look at this. 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verses 5 through 9. What's going on here is there's a disagreement. There's some Christians, and one group of Christians is saying, hey, my leader's Paul, and the other's saying, my leader's Apollos, so who do you follow? Who do you follow? Listen to Paul's response. He says, after all, who is Apollos? Who is Paul? He's basically saying, who am I, right? We are only God's servants through whom you believe the good news. Each of us did the work the Lord gave us. I planted the seeds in your heart, and Apollos watered it, but it was God who made it grow. It's not important who does the planting or who does the watering. What is important is that God makes the seed grow. The one who plants and the one who waters work together with the same purpose, and both will be rewarded for their hard work. For we are both God's workers, and you are God's field. You are God's building. So the one thought I want to give you here is this. Do the work God gives you, right? Not the work you want. Do the work God gives you, knowing He will make it grow. I think that's unbelievable. Do the work God gives you, knowing that He will make it grow. See, don't you hate when you work hard at something and it amounts to nothing? Right? It seems to go nowhere. It doesn't accomplish much. Sometimes that's a timing issue, right, where we just got to wait for the right time. But maybe sometimes in those moments, the reason the work we're doing isn't bearing any fruit is because we're focused on the wrong person. We're focused on Paul and Apollos and this person and that person instead of fixing our eyes on Jesus. Maybe for some of us, the reason that work isn't accomplishing anything is because it's not the work God has given us to do. We're doing our own work. We're doing the things we want instead of what He's asked us to do. Has God given you something to do, some work? And could it be that these three things that we're inviting everyone to participate in as these Christmas initiatives could even just be a small part of what God may be asking you to do this month? And if so, I for my part today, I just want to give you one last thing. Because I think sometimes we are tempted to think, well, you know what? If we just get to do menial things like planting and watering, but God really brings the magic and makes things grow, well, why do I even need to engage anyway? Like, what's the importance of that? So here's one last thing I want to tell you. Know the importance of making a plan. It's really important. And I could use all kinds of examples that I'm not going to use. I could talk to you about having a budget, and I don't care how much money you have or how little money you have. Having a budget, you will always outperform someone without a budget. The plan is important. You will do better with the plan than just sort of praying and sort of winging it. Right? Amen. Some of you were like, I'm not saying amen because I don't have a budget, right? And I'm hoping that works out better for me. It will never work out better for you. Never, never, never. But I'm not going to use that as an example. So let me use this. Christmas. Christmas is always one of our best and most compelling gatherings and experiences of the entire year. This is true for our 4 identical gatherings. This is even true for the late one in a different way. It's just beautiful to have all the candles up on the stage and to have kind of that more relaxed setting. But let me talk to you for a second about our 4 identical gatherings. Do you know when the plan is made and when the music is picked out for that gathering? Some of you are like, well, it'd probably be the week before, right, Rob? No. It's not the week before, and you know why it's not the week before? Because if we did it the week before, which then we could, it would be terrible. So we'd have it go from being one of our most compelling times to one of our worst times. We actually made the plan, we sort of knew what we were doing series-wise months ago. And we were actually getting stressed out when sort of 4 months out, we're like, we don't really know what we're going to do for Christmas. Like that makes us like sweat because we really would prefer to know 6 months out conceptually. And then it was 6+ weeks ago that the order, the plan, the songs were all picked out so that they could be worked on and practiced and tweaked and we could get things just right. And we've been doing those things. So here's the deal. Will you pray and will you plan to give, serve, and invite starting right now? Maybe last week when I said, hey, pray about this, think about this, maybe you didn't do anything yet. That's fine. That's fine. But will you plan and pray right now, starting right now? Because here's the thing. If you wait till the week of Christmas, just like if we had waited till the week of, it'll be terrible. None of the people you invite will come, right? It won't work. You've got to plan and start now. And if we do this, if we plan to do it now, it will be incredible. It really, really will. And you will be part, check out our series graphic, of making a Christmas connection that will bless you, and it will bless and change lives of families and individuals now and for eternity. And I want you to think just for a second about what it costs. If you write a check, you can probably write a check in less than a minute. Now, I know there's money involved, and that's like a cost all in of its own, but it would take you literally less than a minute to participate in this offering. To actually invite someone would only take you minutes of your month, and you could change someone's eternity by doing that. Serving for 2019 could take you as little as an hour a month, and yet make a huge difference. Are any of these too much to ask for you to be blessed and to bless others? Are any of these things too much to ask in response to the greatest gift ever given? I don't think so. And if we work together in this, guys, God will use us to change the world. So I want to spend a little bit more time thinking about number 2 today. Commit to serving in 2019. Check this out.
A stranger, and you invited me in.
I was sick, and you looked after me.
I needed a teacher, and you inspired me.
I was lost, and you prayed for me.
I was addicted, and you helped me break free.
I needed a mentor, and you were there for me.
I felt alone, and and you showed me true community.
You helped me experience the joy of worship.
You made me feel welcome and safe.
You gave me the strength to keep going.
You led me to Jesus.
Good morning, New Hope. My name is Amy Banbury, and I have been chosen to lead the area, the umbrella that we're calling them, called First Impressions. And so First Impressions basically is just what it sounds like. It is the servants here at New Hope. It's the team members that make sure when you walk in the door, whether it's your first time or your 50th time, that you feel welcome, you feel loved on, you feel that you are a part of this body. It's exactly what it is. You can look up here, like Rob said, on the stage as to what ministries, if you want a list of them that fall under those umbrellas. My mind just went blank. I am a preacher's kid. It does that often, I know. I am a PK, and that probably explains the numerous issues that I have. But I was raised in the church, and since growing up, I have gone to different churches. My brother is a pastor, gone to his church. I've gone to other churches to sing, for different revivals, that kind of thing when my dad has spoken. And I'll tell you that there are some times when I walk into those churches and I feel loved on. And I feel like I belong, and I'm a part of that community. And then there are other times where I walked in and felt like I am the oddball in the room. I don't know a soul, and no one cares that I'm there. And, being a part of that First Impressions team, you can make or break someone's experience at church. You can make or break someone's first impression of that church, but more importantly, their first impression of Jesus. And so that is what we are trying to do, is just to make sure that when people walk in here, they feel welcome, they feel like they are a part of New Hope, that there's no judgment here. They can come as they are, and we will love them all the same. And I was trying to think of an example of some of our staff that just are rock stars, and we have them. But God and I have this honest relationship where I'm just like, okay, you have got to show me, like, knock me upside the head with an example, because I just need to be able to get this point across. And I really wasn't coming up with anything, nothing that I've had a personal experience with yet, because we haven't been in these roles very long. And I was kind of getting frustrated this week because I couldn't really come up with anything. And so my dad gave me a call. I talk to him almost every day. And my dad lives about 10 minutes outside of Columbus in Pataskala. And to be honest, he and my stepmom have had a real issue finding a church where they feel like they belong, they feel like they're loved on. And it's been a struggle for me, because I want to be like, Dad, you live 10 minutes outside of Columbus. How can you not find a church? Like, there's got to be a ton that have a New Hope vibe, around where you live. And so, this week, one of those phone calls was the same thing. We're just struggling finding a home. We love New Hope, and we just want something like that. And so finally I just said, Dad, you live 10 minutes outside of Columbus. I don't understand why you're struggling. And there was this pause on the phone, and I thought he was kind of ticked at me for a minute. And he said, there's plenty of churches that have that New Hope vibe. He's like, but there's none of them that have that New Hope heart and those New Hope people. And so I was kind of like, okay, God, I get it. There's my smack on the head. But then my dad, who he's almost 80, half the time he doesn't remember my name, starts telling me, using names of people that attend New Hope, of where Bob Steinmetz gave him one of those Steinmetz brother hugs when he walked in the door, and how Marianne Dawson went over and made sure his coffee was hot, and he had the creamer, and how Greg Durr, my dad's almost 80, and he goes to the bathroom a lot. So Greg Durr down at the end of the hallway not only said hi to Dad going in the bathroom, but he said hi to Dad coming out of the bathroom. So, it's that kind of thing. Those are the people that we're looking for. Those are the rock stars that we're looking for, and I know that they are you. And I am just asking that you not be a seat filler. We have a purpose. God puts us here for a reason. And we are called to serve and called to love on others. As Sometimes that might stink and that might be painful, but that's what we're called to do. And so I am asking that you commit today, that you take this challenge on for the upcoming year, or more, hopefully more. Find your place, find what your gifts are. And if you are one of those people that have been sitting here, for a week and thinking about it at home, praying about it like Rob has asked us to do, and you want to serve, but you just don't know where you fit, I am a lover of Shape. The Shape class, you've heard it talked about up here numerous times. It's a cool, comfortable, not awkward class to go through. It's fun. I learned a lot of things about myself that I didn't know and a lot of things that I did know. But it will help put you where you belong, help you use the talents and gifts that God has given you, and find your place where you can really have a meaningful servanthood here at New Hope. So, First Impressions is a great start. It doesn't take a lot of, knowledge to do. First, you stand at the greeter and be a door. You just got to love Jesus and love people and be able to shake hands, So I encourage you, get involved, and hopefully First Impressions is where you'll find our home.
I'm glad that she's not as old as me, but yet she forgets. So I like that. Kind of puts me at ease. My name is Shelley Salser. I am privileged with the ability to lead the family ministries. And that means that we have the task of the care for everyone, from little babies all the way up to us old people that forget. So that may be somebody to rock a baby in the nursery, or it may be in the youth ministry, somebody or the young kids, just to love on them or to teach them about Jesus or show them the heart of Jesus through a smile, a hug, a high five. The ability to do that, so that frees up the adults to be able to come in here and hear a good word about Jesus and about how he loves us and how he's designed us to go out and be the church. But it may be a young adult, teenagers, those are hard, but they are struggling with peer pressure and, how to define their own faith. And we get to walk alongside them and figure that out with them. Or just women's ministry, men's ministry, small groups, just leaning on each other, doing life, journeying together. And then I forgot to share my win. Rob says, what's a win? And I'm like trying to think through it. But I had a lady who, after hours, not during gatherings or any time, she comes in and prepares things for the little kids. And I'm like, I'm glad somebody does that so I don't have to. But she comes in and she's reading on the counter this devotional thing, and it inspired her. And so she decided to encourage those that work here or serve here and be leaders and leave these little teeny tiny notes that just made somebody's day and smile. So that's what it is. It's just making sure that we take care of the family here so that we can be the church as we walk out those doors. So consider that.
Well, I'm Bud Stanton, and I've got the privilege to lead and help coordinate, facilitate our support ministries. Those are those ministries that are behind the scenes. So if you don't like being out front and greeting people and saying hi, but you'd like to be able to serve and help those people that do, that's kind of what we do. We're the, I like to say, the secret service of the church. We're out there just making sure everything's happening and everybody has what they need. It's also, as I thought about it, it was really because God had to say to me, because there were a couple of ministries that were going to fall under my area that I'm like, what do I know about that? God, I don't get this, And it was really just through prayer and him waking me up in the middle of the night. Anybody ever have that happen? And he woke me up and he said, care for my temple, his church. So one of the ministries that is like the maintenance team. Care for my temple. And it was like maybe an hour or two later, he woke me up and said, feed my sheep. Because see, one of the other ministries that I'll help coordinate is the meals ministry. And I'm like, other than knowing how to eat, I'm like, God, I don't get it. And he made it really clear to me. This is what I want you to do. And see, it made me think about what Amy was saying about the shape class. And I've been through the shape class several different times, and I've learned some things each time about myself. But one of the things that I learned was, many times I say, well, God, what are my gifts? I don't have any gifts. See, that's you talking to yourself. Because if you actually talk to God and say, hey, what are my gifts? What have you gifted me to do? He'll tell you. He'll show you. He'll point you in some direction. And so that's what we're asking you is just, you know what? Ask God. Where do you want me to serve? What gifts do I have? And if you're one of those people that like to be behind the scenes and support, awesome. We'd love to have you on the team. We're the teams that help go from keeping the lights on to keeping the lights hung and everything in between. So if you're one of those kinds of people, I just ask you to really consider that. Because see, God has given us a vision as a church. You know, and Rob mentioned it earlier, our footprint reaching 10,000 people. And some of my ministry leaders that I heard it for the first time in the first gathering, I'm like, I believe in that vision. And so what do we do? How are we going to help support reaching 10,000 people for Jesus? So if you want to be one of those people behind the scenes and you like that, you don't like being out front, come talk to me. We'll get you plugged in. We'd just love to have you. And the one win that was really cool, I was actually invited to the Meals Ministry year-end kind of celebration and planning, and that was awesome because there was all kinds of good food. You want to be in the Meals Ministry, I'm telling you. And in that meeting, they shared about one time there was a funeral here. And the Meals Ministry stepped up and prepared all the food for that family. Just took care of that. So that was a burden that they didn't even have to think about. And you know what? Most of us, I didn't even know that happened until I was at that meeting because it's kind of behind the scenes. They just step up and do that. And what a blessing it is to be able to take care of a family like that at one of the hardest times in life, right? So if you're that kind of person, or you think you might be, or you're even interested in that, please come see me. Let's have a conversation.
All right, now that you're warmed up, here we go. My name is Roy Templeman, and I'm in charge of what they call, I got to read it off the box, worship production. Now, I like to call it the gathering experience. And really, until about a month ago, I did kids ministry, so I enjoyed it the same way you do. But now that I've been up here for about a month, there's a lot of pieces and parts involved. Maybe, you want to run a camera, so when whoever the speaker is moving in a very structured pace, you can follow them because it's fun and exciting. Or maybe you like talking to people, and they would be kind enough to give you a mic. I might have ruined that for you, but I'm just saying. They give you a mic and you could talk. Or maybe you can play an instrument. And that's what you're meant to do. Or maybe you're just happy sitting behind a computer and running slides and doing whatever you're gifted to do there. But whatever it might be, there's a lot of opportunities to do what we call is the gathering experience. Because it's a fun thing, but each of you know, and we shared here, if that's what God wants you to do, take a shape class, and I'll tell you. But the thing that's really cool, and we all shared it was, it doesn't matter if it's Bud's area, or it's Shelly's area, or it's Amy's area, or it's this area. We just need you to plug in. Because what's important about all of this, and what we haven't said enough is that there's people that are going to walk through that doors. And whether it's a handshake, or it's a donut, or it's a coffee, or it's the gathering experience, whatever it might be, that it makes a difference in their life. So maybe they come in here and whatever their problem was, whatever their difficulty was, whatever their challenge was, it softens their heart enough so that God can talk to them and reach them so that they leave difference and they can have a relationship with Him. And that's what this is all about.
Hey, will you guys thank them? They have been asked to do a lot and to continue doing a lot to help lead us. One of the things I'm really excited about when people say, hey, I want to serve, it's not us trying to hand you off to one of 30 plus sort of ministry leader staff people, right? It's now 4 people who can really help sort of journey with you to help plug you in to a specific area. And man, I'm just excited about having all you guys help serve and lead in this way. And so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a couple songs. The first song is going to be kind of really low key. There's actually going to be no words up on the screen. And what we want to do is we want to create a little bit of space. And each of these 4 are going to be down because we actually have sign-up sheets. If there's an area, like not a specific area today, but kind of an umbrella area where you might say, hey, I'd like to serve in that area. right? And so they're going to be down here. The music will be low enough where maybe you don't even want to sign up today, but you have a question for one of them. You can come up and have a conversation with them. You can come up and sign up to say, hey, for 2019, I want to serve in one of these areas. You can come up and just explore. For you, maybe you already serve, and so you might want to use the time just to sit in your seat, let the words wash over you, and you might want to use that time just to say, you know what, God, who do you want me to invite for Christmas? God, how do you want me to participate in the Christmas offering? It might be that. But we want you to use this time. And I just want to say a couple things. Amy, I was a little bit bummed out because you didn't tell people this gathering. She told everybody that her dad, and this is true, he's kind of the president of the Rob Patterson fan club. So in the first gathering, I said he was one of the wisest. Yeah. And I want you to know, in the first gathering, we actually had people sign up for every ministry area except for the gathering experience. So when Roy said, hey, it doesn't matter whose area you sign up for, people took them literally and signed up for the other areas. So I said this in the first gathering because these four are going to kind of go down to their little areas now as we do this song. So so as they do this, please, at least somebody for Roy's well-being, come talk to him, sign up. It really is a great area. It's a fun area. And there's just a lot of great, skilled people who will help you and train you and all that kind of stuff. So if you want to be a part of the gathering experience in any way, shape, or form, or ask questions, come talk to Roy during this next couple songs. If you want to be a part of First Impressions, come talk to Amy or sign up here for behind-the-scenes support ministries here, for family ministries down there. Do not. See, I told Pastor Jeremy the other day, I said, we should just have 5 minutes of utter silence and make people sweat if they don't come forward. And it's usually us sort of doing this opposite, but he looked at me and he said, I don't think that's a good idea, right? But even though we're going to do some nice music and make it comfortable in here, don't let them just stand here. Let's be a part of the body of Christ and make a difference together.
Hey, Rob, what if somebody already is serving somewhere?
Yeah, then I think you pray about how God wants you to be a part of those other initiatives. Or maybe for some of you, you've served in one area literally forever, and you might be interested in serving in a little different way. And you can come just explore that as well. So this is your time. Let's listen to God.